Good evening, good evening, good evening. What's going on?
Good night, good night, good night, everybody.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We
Welcome
are back.
Other Wednesday.
Another Wednesday of what?
Talk the Ting.
Talk the Ting. We're gonna talk the Ting tonight. Thanks for already tuning in. Thanks for expecting us to go live, and we are here. And tonight we have the doctor himself, Doctor. Not the PM now. I wish. But we have Dr. Miggs, Dr. Miguel Labadie, DJ, promoter, radio personality. What else? Father.
Yes.
He will tell us the rest. But let's go, Dr. Miggs. Come in.
Yes, yes. Good evening. Good evening. Are we loud and clear?
Loud and clear, like plastic.
Yeah, good to be on, man. What happened in Adley?
Good, good, good. What's going on, man?
Well, we're there. It's another day. Good to link up again with the man Rajiv. Rajiv, what go on?
Big up, big up. Welcome on the show. Welcome on the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
I listen in, but now we in person.
Yes, I respect.
Just want to say, thanks for the promo today. You touted the interview live, and we want to tell you that we appreciate you, spreading the word about the show. And thank you for agreeing to come on and let us pick up at your life and what you do,
Yeah, man. Positive.
Yeah, man.
Well, again, thanks for having me. Looking forward to share, with the audience.
Let's get into it, man. Who is Miguel Labadie? Where you from?
Yeah.
School.
Miguel Labadie, raised in Bath Estate, raised with my mother, father, and siblings. Okay. I am the only boy and the first child. So I was raised with sisters. Okay. I think I had any normal childhood, like the typical boy growing up in Bath Estate, did what most of boys did back then. Boys and girls played together. Well, I played football like any other young boy growing up in Bath Estate. It's something that I think maybe 95% of boys love to do and engage themselves in, If it's one sport that I think all boys, or like I said, 95% of boys would have participated in, is football. However, I was not cut out to be any football star, unlike most of the boys from Bath Estate. As you know, Bath Estate is a football community, but
so no
I
sports
was never a star.
So no
Well, I mean,
sports
I play basketball, I play football, but I was never a star. That's not my thing. I'm not an athlete, but I just did it for fun, recreation, to keep fit, and something that I love to do. I was into games and, like most other persons, into games and music and, the usual stuff.
Where did you go to school?
I started, if you're looking at primary school, Roseau Boys, then SMP, St. Mary's Primary. Before that, the Roseau Infant School, and then to St. Mary's Academy.
Big up SMP, SMA as my alma mater as well.
Original.
Roseau Boys. Well, as a country boy from the countryside. So Migs, most people know you for you in the DJing industry, music industry, you're DJ. But what was your journey like? Where did it begin? And let's talk about you being a DJ for now. Where did it begin?
Well, to answer that specifically, maybe in a DJ, It was, well, first of all, music has always been part of my life. I was always surrounded by music and being inspired. I was always interested and invested in what was going on musically with different artists from different generations and bands, etc. Um, in terms of me being a DJ itself, it was really after having the opportunity to be employed at DBS, as an announcer, reporter, DJ, etc., presenter. It was Wadix who kind of opened that door, for me by inviting me to be part of one of the events that he spearheaded along with DBS. It was an oldies event. And I think he just threw it out there. I'm not sure if he was really serious or not. But I guess he saw something in me and just gave me the name Dr. Miguel Labadie. Like he just threw me out there and invited me to be to be part of the DBS DJs.
So hold on. So DJ Mr. Dr. Labadie was not first. That's what you're telling us?
No, well, I started at DBS originally as a fill-in for Ted Daly. Well, I started I started part-time. I wanted really to do a show where I could promote local artists because, like I said, I was always involved in music some way, somehow. So before that, I if we're looking at the context of music, of the music journey, I spent some time with at graphics record shop, and I worked with a lot of different artists like Dr. Silk, Coco Killer, and a lot of these guys. I was even part of a little a dancehall group called Song Squad. Run them crew back in the day with guys like Coco Killer and Ja Fox and a lot of other guys.
Ja Fox up here, same state as
yeah,
I
man,
am.
of course, man, of course. Me and Ja Fox, we had to link sometimes. So big up Fox. Yeah, Ja Fox run that studio and we did a lot of work together, produced some work, some music. So I work with a lot of artists and I really felt that I want to offer something where I could push those artists. So I approached DBS at the time. Miss Warrington was the manager and she referred me to Shamin Green Brown, whose son I had taught in SMP along with Rajiv and and others. Yeah, so she of course would have recognized and remembered me as a son's teacher. So she said the timing, it was kind of an opportune time. Let them just, give me an audition, because Ted Daly was about to retire. And they're looking not only for someone to play music, but someone who can present and read and those things. So um, after being impressed with my audition, I started off with DBS, first part-time and then later on full-time. And of course, part of my job at DBS or my duties would be to entertain people and to play all kinds of music. That kind of came naturally and easy for me.
So you spoke about some teaching prior to DBS. So that what you did before DBS? Or what did you do before that?
Well, work experience wise, I taught for 2 years at primary schools at SMP and Goodwill Primary. I also worked with the government of Dominica for different departments, including the Inland Revenue Department, and I worked with OD Brisbane in the distribution center as an assistant manager there. Yeah, different things here and there. But even while I was doing all that, I was always involved in music. I was already producing. And when I say producing, not necessarily doing the technical part of it or being a studio engineer, but putting projects together like music jingles. I'd got an idea because my group that I had, we wanted to record some songs and an idea came to me. Well, it was my dad who gave me the idea that I could approach business places seek some sort of partnership where we could advertise their business on our CD and also do a musical jingle for them, and they could sponsor, our projects or recording. And I think one of the first um opportunities we had, if not the first, was Jerry Brisbane, Odie Brisbane and Sons. So I have to big him up. Eventually I would have worked with him at Brisbane, to give us that opportunity to do a jingle for him. So even like I said, while I was working here, there, and there, and with the government and teaching, I was always hustling, involving the administrative part of the music business with Fox and the other guys. We would produce our little cassettes and CDs, and I would go around the bus stops and hustle to sell the cassettes and the CDs, and to go around and get sponsorship, talk to people, and negotiate gigs, and we would perform here and there by the roadside, by KFC, we did something for Credit Union, we did some work with Benjo Simos. So, it's a lot was going on. I kept
And in addition to all of that, you also wrote calypsos, because at SMP, I remember we had a calypso show at SMP, and you wrote quite a bit of the calypsos for that show,
Yeah. I mean, and it was the first attempt at calypso at that level. I mean, what I did before was really like the dancehall and hip hop. That's what we were doing as young boys, doing the dancehall and rap and those things growing up in the 90s. I had probably written a calypso once. I think my sister had asked me to write some song for one of her friends, and I actually just came up with something. So it just came naturally. SMP, every year would do their calypso show, and I being a class teacher, and with being the teacher of boys with potential, not only academically or sports, but guys who could sing and wanted to perform. I just decided to give it a go, and I think that year I wrote 4 calypsos, and I said one of my calypsos must win. Must. I felt that confident that one of them would emerge the winner.
Did one though?
And so said, so done.
So said. I'm telling you.
Yes, I.
And so much so that calypso went on to the Junior Monarch. That was in 2003.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it entered the Hall of Fame with Kelly the Ghost and guys like Peter. But
some big leagues, but it was fun, man. And I mean, I remember at the time being just so proud, of my students. I had a good group, man, of boys, a good crew. I must say, I'm very proud of what these guys ended up, doing with their lives along their journeys, and I could see the potential, from since then. Guys like Rajiv, I can't remember the Calypso name itself, because was it the Educator?
it was the Educator, yes.
The Educator, right, man. So I was just very proud, man, to
Hold on.
have some sort of impact.
Am I missing something here? Was Rajiv one of the singers?
The man is a Calypso king, son. The man is a king. Well, not on the national level, but at least as a king, SMP, the man.
Hold on. Rajiv was Calypso king. Rajiv Wallace was Calypso
SMP.
king of SMP. So Rajiv, how come you never mentioned that? Wow. That's not right. But for those of you who don't know, Miguel Labadie is the cousin of the great Jason Froggy Joseph, #1 drummer in the land, Dominica, Triple K, Mikel Anderson, Ophelia. Was there ever a time in the musical part of your career where you felt like playing an instrument?
Yeah, of course. I used to play keyboards because I remember I got a gift as a child, like probably 7-8 years. I had my little keyboard and I would always play like by ear. I would listen to stuff and just play. And then I had there was a cousin of mine who was trained like classically or professionally. So when I spent time with her, she would show me one or two things. So I really wanted to do music. At some point, I wanted to learn professionally, and I remember going to the music schools at the time to see if I could get in. But I think there was some reasons. One at the time was just closed. The other one said they would only work with children. But that was long afterwards, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would just play at home, and even at school, like in primary school, we had this little group, you know, some of my friends and we would always ask the teacher to go up in front of the class and perform. So one of the guys would drum on the desk, and then myself, I would just perform with the other guys, you know. Um, yeah, I saw myself as a guy being on stage playing keyboards in a band. That was one of
Yes, I.
the dreams I had, you know, as a child, to be honest. So it's two things. I really wanted to be a musician, entertainer, and a businessman, not knowing exactly at the time, but I always felt that I would have my own business someday, and that is what it was.
Cool. So, I mean, I know your family pretty well. I know your mom big on education and career. You know your dad, your sisters, but your chosen profession eventually was, you know, you were DJ, radio host, and whatnot. Was it something that in the beginning, in the early stages of you making that decision, was it something that your family supported? Was there any sort of pushback from parents?
Long
Um,
lectures, be like, boy, Miguel, for
yeah.
a serious something, man. You messing around.
Yeah. I mean, my family always supported me. Whatever the dream was, they always supported me. You know, if I wanted to perform somewhere, they would go and get me that new hoodie, that new jacket, whatever it is, you know, to come to an event where I would perform. Yes, naturally, you know, there were times, you know, where I would sort of lose a little focus, and you know, parents would always be there to sort of try to guide me along that way. But they always respected and accepted and supported whatever it is that I wanted to do. So I always knew I never wanted to be any doctor, any scientist, any engineer as such. I was just so caught up in the music and the business of music. You know, the dreams were not too far from what I thought was reality, and I just wanted to do what I love doing. 'Cause I think that's important for people to do what you love. I remember a teacher, one of my high school teachers, when I chose business over science, coming to me and saying that he thought I would have done science, probably, you know, thinking that certain boys or science is for certain boys and business is for certain or this or that. But I always did what I loved, what made me happy, and nobody could take that away from me. Okay, whether it was bad or good for me, whatever I felt that would make me happy, I would really go for it. Sometimes things happen you don't expect. Sometimes you have plans and they materialize. But then it's about to just knocking on those doors, you know, having that hustler mentality, tapping, knocking on those doors, and they will open.
So when was the first time you were at a radio console by yourself? Like when was the first time they released the reins and they said, okay, this is your set, this is your 15 minutes, your 30 minutes,
Mm.
nobody else in there with you, just you.
Yeah, well, I guess that would have been somewhere 2003, late 2003. I think for Dinah Frampton did certain shows on DBS at the time, and she would have shown me the basics in terms of using the radio console, you know, Shamin Green and the others, whoever it is. So I think that would have been the first time. I think I remember once Ted Daly may have been off probably for his birthday, whatever it is, and they call me in. So that's how it started. Every now and then they would call me in to just fill in, you know, as a volunteer.
But that's
Yeah.
Big
And
Shoesy boy. That's
yeah.
Big
So I just kind
Shoesy.
of got my
Teddy.
feet wet, and yeah, I kind of enjoyed the ride. That's what it is. And then by the following year, I think I would have been employed full time with DBS.
So Migs, you got into radio programming. you was part of a band. And then we started hearing an ad with the tagline presented by Mirror Entertainment. And everybody wondered, but who is Mirror Entertainment? Only to find out Miguel Labadie, you know, the DJ, the radio personality, decide, yo, I'm stepping into another aspect of the music business. And I think it's time that I make level up my own shows. Tell us, give us a little backstory on that and how and why did you get into that part of it?
Yeah. Well, my first experience at organizing an event would have been at SMA. My father kind of again gave me an idea to do a secondary schools dub competition. So at the time, that same group, we put together this what we call like a dub dancehall contest among secondary school students. Let me big up guys like Kerry Lestrade, big up Coco Killer, big up Kibwe, Marcus, Ja Fox. Let me big up guys like my partner Blaze from Baffin State, who was always supportive. That's Governor, you know, Nigel. Let me big up that man.
Oh, Nigel boy.
Yeah, man. You know, he was always there, you know, supportive around that time and part of the movement. Yeah, so we put this competition together. I remember people like Josephine Gabriel and so supporting, and also graphics and musical and popcorn, a bigger popcorn. And it was well attended at the St. Gerard's Hall. We would have come out so successful that we donated at the time $500 towards the New Wing project in SMA, and it was a $5 entry, you know, event. Yeah, so we did that. That competition was won by Dice. At the time, he went by the name of Mega Watts, I think. Some name like that. Yeah, man. But yeah. Dice and Slice originally Mega Watts and Mega Hertz, you know.
Don't pass that straight. What's that again?
Yeah, well, he could tell you more on that, but that's who won. Yeah, this is who won the show, yeah. Mega Watts
and Mega
Mega Hertz. Yeah. So that happened, and then I did one or two things. I think for credit union, they wanted to organize some contests. So they had contacted me. I think Dr. Dublin and some folks who put that together sometime maybe late 90s or early 2000s. And then somewhere around 2000 and maybe 7 or I can't remember, 7 or 8 or so. Peter Prosper had an idea to do an event at Springfield. So he invited me. For whatever reason, he felt that I could bring some value. He invited me to collaborate with him to produce that event with Swinging Stars. I can't remember if you were the drummer. Who was the drummer at the time, Hadley? You were drumming for Swinging Stars or Fanatic?
Fanatic.
Okay, so not you. Right. So we did that event. We call it a textbook jam. As to how the reason for or the inspiration behind that concept, the textbook jam, I think I would allow Peter Prosper to drop that one at some time. But anyway, that is what it was. Textbook jam with Swinging Stars at Springfield. So we did it for 2 years. Very good shows up there. And then later on, I kind of felt that there was a little void regarding events in Dominica, that most of the events, if not all, apart from the 1-2 oldies that Wadix and DBS would have done, will kind of get towards the younger demographic, you know, is the BOUYON vibes and the dancehall vibe. And I coming from the old school and being a lover and very knowledgeable about the classic music, you know, I felt I wanted to do something for that demographic, for the more mature people. Not because I'm a young man, it doesn't mean that I cannot, you know, do something which is attractive to an older generation of population. So at the time, there were two things I wanted to do. One, the oldies dance. I think probably about a year or two had passed, and there was no oldies, so I said I wanted to do one, and I got the main players involved, and then I wanted to start bringing um, artists that our parents and those before us would have grown up to and may not have had the opportunity to see perform live, in live and in living color. Artists we probably felt were gone and to some degree forgotten. So the first guy I wanted to do was Eddie Lovett. I later found out that he had passed. He's a guy who does covers, like popular songs in lovers rock from like the 70s and 80s. I just felt, I just had a feeling that those sorts of events would bring happiness to people, to that demographic. After learning that this guy was already gone, my next artist was Eric Donaldson. Yeah, excuse me.
I said that one a little more familiar.
Oh yes, right. Of course, you would know that one,
Yep.
But then I'm sure your parents would know about Eddie Lovett, and of course Eric Donaldson. So I just felt, I mean, my mind is always working. I always ideas always keep running. So I would see something, I would study, how things are happening on the scene, on the entertainment scene, and say, okay, I think there's an opportunity to do this there. I think we can find a niche there. We can do something to appeal. Let's do something to target that group. No, let's do something to target this group, that group, or everybody all together. So it would just come naturally, the inspiration would just come and then we would just follow through and make it happen.
So
yeah,
right now you have reggae on the boardwalk. Is that your baby? That was your idea?
Yeah, well, the first inspiration, I mean, I'm gonna drop it like this, as it like it's hot. I will say that the first inspiration I got to do a reggae event was from or came from attending reggae in at Portsmouth. There was a venue called La Playa, which is right next to Purple Turtle. So DJ Spawner had invited me to play. I had never been to the event yet there, so he invited me to DJ, and I was so impressed with the whole vibe, the ambience by the beach side, the performers at the time, RS Digital, the way he commanded and interacted with the crowd, and I just felt like I have to do something of similar to that in Roseau, but I just couldn't come up with the right location, because for me everything has to be right. It has to connect. It's not just do anything anywhere, anytime for anybody. It has to just, the puzzle, has to come together. It has to feel good and feel right. So at the time, I just couldn't find anywhere that I could do this in Roseau. So I just left it alone. Sometimes you just have to leave things alone until
right.
the inspiration comes or something comes. So out of the blue, one day, this guy called Clint called me, Clint Pemberton. So he told me that he wanted me to do something at his venue, he and his mom's venue in Lally Coco. It was called the Boardwalk Restaurant at the time. So he said he wanted to do something on Saturday to appeal to the grown people, like a warehouse crowd, the people who would have partied during the warehouse days with myself and Wadix. That's what he wanted. So I spoke to him. I told him, okay, I'll get back to him on that. And then when I came, although I had known of the place, I had actually performed at that place once, twice, for one or two private events. But it was somewhere I would pass up and down and never even remembered or realized it existed. So when I went to the place, man, and I felt the vibe, I say, here is it, like jackpot. That has to be a reggae. I have to do a reggae event there. So I immediately told the guy, you know, what I wanted to do, and I spoke to them, you know, he and his mom about I ran my proposal by them. I said, okay, that is what I think I want to do instead of that thing. And I went to RS Digital. At that time, he was no longer performing at La Playa, and it wasn't what it used to be before. That's in Portsmouth. So RS said he's available. Okay, and I said once I have RS Digital, then it's a go. I wasn't about to do this without this guy because I know the value, you know, he's going to bring to the product itself.
Right.
So after I locked this guy down, you know, locked down DJ Matthew, and then because the name of the business was called the Boardwalk Restaurant, um, and which had a boardwalk, I decided to call it Reggae on the Boardwalk, right? So we launched the event in March of 2016, and subsequently became the biggest weeknight event, I think, regular running weeknight event. So
I
it
mean, you make
was,
it sound like it was 1, 2, 3, bam. But for events like that, like what kind of challenges you encounter? Like what is the problems with raising funds for this kind of thing? The sponsorship, getting all those pieces come together. Because I imagine some things need to be paid up front. You're not guaranteed to have a crowd. Like what? Just run us through some of that.
yeah. I mean, nothing is guaranteed, and along the line, you know, I mean, experience is a good teacher, because in that business you can succeed or you can. Uh, I don't want to say. Well, you can learn. You know, a loss should not be considered a failure, but you learn. You learn what could work in your market, and sometimes you have to try. When you try, that's how you learn. You know, so with experience doing the thing for years, you know, you get a feel of what you think can work, what you don't think may work out, and then you go with it. You know, you get feedback. So I would sometimes ask one or two people the questions, what they think about that, you know, people I trust, and get their opinion, you know, on certain ideas. So I would probably run one or two ideas by a few people and get their feel on it. So again, to nothing is guaranteed, but then it's a matter of having a product that can convince the sponsor, your potential sponsor, to get on board, because they want to know what's in it for them. It's not about charity. Nobody's giving anything for free.
Right.
Okay, it's not charity work in there. They want to know that they can really maximize, you know, visibility and sales and all those things. And so there's a lot, and I must big up Asta fans at the start, very instrumental in the early days of the reggae and the boardwalk. They really supported us, you know, a great deal with promotions and all that. At the time too, I was part of the A team at Asta fans as one of the brand ambassadors, you know. So it's a lot you have to put into it, a lot of thought and planning. You really have to be, the approach has to be a prudent one. You have to do your research. You have to figure out if something can work based on your market, especially for bigger events at a large scale, you know, where you're bringing in artists from overseas, and you have to pay plane tickets and hotels and per diem
Hotels.
and this and that and bottles of Hennessy and all kind of things, you know, everything, you know, you have to pay for everything. I mean, Hadley's a musician, touring musician for some time, so he knows that it's not the musician responsibility. You know, you have to provide everything, especially artists from certain areas or who sing certain genres of music. You know how it is. So some of them
I've
can
a,
get already.
I've a partner watching the live right now who comes across as an aspiring promoter. I am glad he hearing what you're saying there.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
very glad that he gets to hear from a promoter that the promoter is responsible for every expense.
Yeah,
Every
you know, so yeah, so that is what it is. That's what it is. So in that thing, you have to work with people. You know, it's a partnership. Yes, you may have the idea and bring it to life, but you have to work with partners who can play a part in whatever way, you know, in production, be it investments, or you're doing your own thing, or you're taking a chance, or you just have to work with people. But it's a lot of research. You have to do your groundwork, and do your budgeting, of course, like in anything. You have to budget properly and be realistic. That's one of the things I want to tell promoters, to be realistic. And you also have to be bold enough to speak to those artists out there, that your market is not the same as that of the neighboring island. So not because neighboring St. Lucia or Barbados, you see X amount, or you could get X amount of money or charge them X amount. Yes, an artist, every artist or band or entertainer, right, may have their worth or their price. But then it's not going to work. I cannot afford to pay a man the same he is charging or he is getting in Barbados or Trinidad, with a population of 3, 4, 5 times my population.
Right.
And probably where the people have a higher spending power. Where the spending power is different. It's different. So you have to be able to negotiate and let these people understand. And if they're not willing to back down, then you cannot force. Nobody's forcing anybody to do anything.
Right.
Okay.
Move on to the next artist.
Yeah, that's it. So you just have to be realistic as possible. Do your budgeting, do your research, ask questions, get a feel. I would always get a feel from the people as to, hey, what do you think about this guy, or who would you like to see? Who are you feeling now? Who's hot in the streets? Which, those kind of things like that. And not because somebody's hot in one place, it doesn't mean that they're going to work in your market. It's a different. So you just have to be smart as to knowing what choices, what to pick, what to leave out. Yeah, it's a science by itself.
Yeah, man. So Migs, you got into something pretty interesting, and as you would say, outside of the norm. Apart from your radio talk shows and your promotion and your DJing, you had a late night adult segment. Is that still on?
Yeah, what was it called? What was the name of it?
It's called Bedtime Stories.
Bedtime Stories. Is that still on, and why Bedtime Stories? Not the name, but what inspired that venture?
Well, I mean, I'm the love doctor, yeah. I'm the love doctor.
Yes,
you understand what I mean? And that's the thing. The thing with me is that I listen to and love just about all kinds of music. You'd be surprised what I listen to when I go to bed, what I listen to during the day, what I listen to when I drive, what I just listen to. I love my slow jams. I love my R&B, especially my 90s and early 2000s R&B. And again, the thing with me, I always like to do something different. It's easy to come and do what everybody else is doing, but that's not me. That's not me, right? I always choose to just bring something different to the table, to any platform, to any space, to any audience that it may not or is not necessarily done to a certain extent or level at that particular place or space or time. So the idea came to do Bedtime Stories via my online medium, which is drmixlab.com or Lab Radio. So I have my online radio medium, which I started off even before the outbreak of COVID-19. So it was really a venture to be able to broadcast from wherever I am. If I'm traveling, if I'm somewhere, I could just broadcast, and the radio station could relay one of my shows, and to do my own thing, to do my own show. So the idea just came to do a late night show. I mean, years ago, I did the what was it called? One of the love shows on DBS. I forgot the name, but it was a love show with
I vaguely remember that show, but I don't
yeah, with the easy listening music. But then on that show, you would get the usual, the the Celine Dion's and the Lionel Richies and the Mariah Careys and the Smokey Robinsons and these things. But with the bedtime, it's more sensual.
Okay.
It's more of a raunchy nature. It's not meant for the
Not for kids.
Not for
right,
kids.
right, right. It's not for
Grown,
children. It's an adult. It's big man, big
people,
woman business.
Resulting children.
big people business.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's when you put the children to bed, really and truly. You read them a story from you read them the nursery rhyme from the book, and then right now is adult stories right now. So that's what it is. Just to be able to create that mood where people could feel relaxed and enjoy some slow jams and be serenaded by the doctor. Some probably end up being seduced by the doctor, during the segment. But then
probably.
that's
on that note, we don't do no trouble there.
None at all.
In Dominica, it could probably be said that being a DJ or a promoter is more like freelance work. There's you don't have a guaranteed. You don't know what your month-end paycheck look like or whatnot. Is that a myth? Like, what is a typical day for you?
Man, well, you see, it's one. I mean, if you're into events, especially if you do events regularly, like people like me. I mean, with COVID, it's different now. So we haven't had work or business as such. I mean, a few months ago, the gates were open to a certain extent, so we could do one or two things. But it has changed drastically, with the pandemic. Um, it's a lot of planning. So that's the thing. It's work. It's really a full-time job. It's really a full-time job. Again, if you're lucky, you count your blessings. If not, you learn, you get up again, or like I know some people would have given up, or sometimes you feel like that. But then the thing is, it's a small market and nothing is for free. Nothing comes for free. Everything has a cost. Okay, there's an expense. You have to promote, you have to market, you have to pay for services, like in anything. And that's why it's important for even the corporate community to really endorse and support promoters, because, and not only them, but even the patrons, because many times people will feel, hey, you're giving me a free, it's like they see a venue park or whatever, they know when you sold out, or yeah, why are you gonna give me a free ticket, or give me that, give me a, but that is your way of supporting, the venture, of supporting the promoter, supporting your favorite artist, your favorite band, purchase their songs digitally, etc., instead of asking for a free copy, even if you can get a free copy, So you support, because that is work. It's a job, really and truly, and it generates a lot of economic activity, It doesn't take any scientist to see that carnival time and independence times, in other words, the festive seasons in Dominica, generate, more economic activity than any other time. So it comes back to show the importance and the value of the players or the stakeholders in this business, from the musicians to the promoters, DJs, sound and lights people, all the players. We have a part to play, and make a serious contribution and stimulate a lot of economic activity. Take, for example, anyone, could be Miguel Labadie, any other promoter, does an event, right? Women are going to go to the stores to buy their outfits, right? They're going to get their hair done, spend on hair. The boutiques are making money, right? Guys would go out to buy a new shirt, especially if it's a themed event, a black and white event, a Valentine's event, a all white, a this, a all whatever the case is. They go out, they buy clothes. You see the stores, you see them advertising, clothes and all sorts of deals and things.
Yep.
They make a whole lot of money from your idea. So it goes around full circle. That is what it is. The vendors right? The vendors who sell at the events, the farmers, because to make all the food and the dish, this water and the plate and this bowl and that, you have to buy the seasonings and the this and that, the fishermen, the fish. You know how much fish? I mean, from my experience, even doing the event every Thursday, especially during the peak times, how much I could tell you how much coconut water, any other person who has a bar or a business can tell you how much ice we buy, how much gas is spent from moving up and down, from doing things. When we engage services of other people, of security people, of policemen, of cashiers, of stage managers, sound and lights people, venue owners, that is what it is. So that's why I get very annoyed. I get very offended, right? While I understand the crisis we are in and the situation with regards to potential spread of COVID-19, and we having to do what we have to do by shutting down and taking a pause. But the fact that people just sometimes will just lash out and say like, hey, but the CO and the C1, whatever. Yes, we are all playing our part as patrons, as revelers, as participants, as promoters. We are playing our part and we are making the necessary sacrifice to protect the health of our country and our people. But people have to stop that nonsense by just seeing this thing as a CO and a FET. It's a business, it's an industry where people earn a living. They earn their daily bread where they could go out and support their families. That is what it is. It is a business. You know, many people stop at different restaurants when they're on their way to any event
or
to
when they
stop to
coming
just buy
from
it. Or
an
when they're
event.
coming from an event hungry and they stop to buy a
Different
chicken, to buy
standards.
fish, to buy this and that. Yeah, big up my
Stop by
good
the
partner
market.
standards one time. Big up my partner,
Shakes.
always supporting the vibes. So that is what it is. So people just need to understand those things, and stop just throwing it out there on the players like you greedy to do it or to have to perform and fair. And I remember one or two people when we were advertising the Soca on the Hill, talking their nonsense. I mean, I'm not going to waste my time and answer people on social media and those things. But hey, all you greedy fat. I mean, if we have the green light to go ahead and we can operate, we can do something within the health measures, the health and safety measures and protocols, and we can do something, and we people can strictly adhere to something. I mean, why not? So that is what it is, and that's why I know for sure the players in the game are suffering at the hands of COVID-19, because the other people who have all these things to say, they have their daily bread. They can go to their work. Okay, it's not affected, but then people like us, it's a drastic change, for us, because we have no income from the business, from that sector,
Right. That's so true, man. So Migs, you I would say you are at the top of the game. To the point where you have become in terms of entertainment, you have become somewhat of the face of DigiCell, or the voice of DigiCell. Is there any type of restriction as to what you can say, what type of music you can play? Is there any type of thing where you can't go you can't operate or work at a certain event because it's sponsored by the competitor? How do these corporate partnerships work?
I mean, as long as there is no conflict, as long as there is no conflict, but it's not that petty to say you cannot do this. We just have to be realistic, in the things that you ought to do, in the things that you should do, is really a matter of honoring whatever your agreement is, and having respect for the brand or the company that you represent, and promote it to the best of your ability, because you ought to have the interest of your brand, at heart. So as long as you do not engage in any conflicting activity, and we can be responsible in what we do and what we say, you know, because yeah, that's what it is. You just have to be responsible and do what we have to do to represent the brand.
As a DJ, I think there was a situation with another DJ not too long ago where he was talking about how a lot of local artists suggest that local DJs don't play their songs, or they don't play enough of their songs, or they play a lot of other stuff, a lot of outside music, or they focus on one set of local artists. You think that's a fair statement? You have anything to say to that? Is there a reason why certain local artists might not make the cut for you airing the music?
Yeah.
And before you
yeah.
answer, you can also touch on the whole idea of length as well, because I think that complaint comes a lot when we hit the Lent season, and the music produced for the carnival season just dies at Lent. Yeah. So you can also touch on that, because I get that complaint. People complain about that a lot.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that concern, of anybody in local artists or artists from anywhere. And I understand and empathize with some of them, their plight. I could feel what it is, their level of frustration. Too many times I feel the artists and DJs here are at war with each other, and that shouldn't be. We are here to support each other. The DJ has to promote the music of the artist. The artist has to furnish the DJ, to supply the DJ with material. So we need each other for us to function effectively, to carry out our duties. That is what it is. But that is a discussion that has come up so many times, the structure overall of the music business here, in particular in Dominica. There's a lot to be desired.
Take your time.
Yeah, it's so much we have already said, and so much can be said. It's just a matter of us doing it. We are too divided, first of all, and it is because that too many of the young upcoming artists are probably on their own, and they may have the talent but don't possess the necessary skill or abilities to create something, to produce something of a certain standard, may not have the money, to get a good quality recording. It's there are a lot of challenges, really and truly, and it's because we don't really have that structure like record. We don't have any labels or any business people who have decided to invest in something like that. I think the people probably haven't seen it fit, or probably didn't feel it's worth it to invest in something like that. I remember at some point I wanted to do something like that, but then that's long under the bridge. So that's one of the challenges, the resources. It's really not there. Two, many of the people wanting to do something, I think they lack the drive, the right, they don't have the right work ethic, in my opinion. Okay, you cannot tell me that you're just going to stay there and record one song, two songs for the year and be satisfied with that and believe that automatically it's going to be a hit or get airplay. You have to work. If that is what you do, you have to invest in yourself before anybody can even invest in you. Is when you invest in yourself and you can push yourself. That's when people are going to take it. They're going to see, unless if you're lucky and some top producer or songwriter or A&R up there is going to discover you like Rihanna, and you're going to get that lucky break. It's not going to work. So you have to push yourself if you really believe in it and do whatever you think it takes. At least you have to try. If you fail along the way, fine. But you have to believe in yourself and you have to find. So one of the problems, Rajiv and Hadley, I don't think we are getting enough work, enough music from Dominica. I would really like to see the creators of music do more if they are challenged in terms of putting out music or creating music, because they may not be able to afford the studios. But these days, everybody has a studio. These days, everybody has a software and a microphone and can do their thing. Everybody has a bedroom studio these days. You understand? So that is what I would like to see. Guys need to do more work. The work is not enough. So there is so much coming. How much? What I think can be done is probably you as a say as a DJ on air, a local Dominican DJ. You should be or have a certain level of patriotism and consciousness to fit in a certain percentage in your regular programming of the local music. Find a way to balance it, to mix it in. You know, if you're doing a particular segment and you have nothing to offer from the local market, then fine. But find a way to just feature, to just squeeze in something here and there. You know, but then it is so there's so much music coming out from all over the world every day. Music is being released every day. I made a point when I had Daryl Bob on a radio show some months ago that Bob, I told him, Bob, me tell you something. Yes, even if Vibes Cartel is in a jail sitting there and he probably has the time and inspiration, you know, Vibes Cartel alone has more songs than all of the Calypsonians put together in Dominica in any given period.
Wow.
And not only Cartel, maybe any the average dancehall artist, the typical any other top dancehall artist has more songs. Yes, they have the backing, they have the population, the money, the industry, but is the mentality really and is the work ethic? And it's because we don't work so much together. We have to pool our resources together. You know, I think it's too much of that. Boy, I don't want Mister to hear that or to hear my beat. I think we have kind of deviated a little bit from that, you know, because now I see more guys doing compilations and doing work, but I don't think it is sufficient. I don't think we get enough work. Look at the period we know in these pandemic times where guys are not touring as such and performing as such. It means you have more time on your hands.
Right,
You have more time to write and to create.
Well, Migs, I think the issue there is some of our older heads in the music industry in Dominica, they are our older heads, if you get where I'm coming from. They still think like they are in yesterday. And so they get excited when they see people walking through the door. You know, that person paid cash to walk through the door. And I think as long as that mentality is still there, that we don't really care about the, you know, I think there's a new ministry of digital economy and whatnot. And I would think that ministry would somewhat influence that, because like you said, fellas have time. Fellas have time, fellas have merch. You know, you can have merch, you can have music online, and it just doesn't happen. That being said, TIng has some brand new merch out. TIng has some brand new merch out. Check the link on the Facebook and YouTube streams right now, and check it out and purchase it. We are rebranding, as I said last time, so just check out the new merch. But if you like some of our old school merch like this one, let us know and we can always put it back up there. But for now, we have the brand new merch out there with our brand new logo and whatnot. So Migs.
Yeah, well, I also have to answer your question. You know, the other thing, the other point I wanted to make in reference to Rajiv's question was that guys need to take their time. And if you're putting out something, put out something good. Sometimes somebody may send me a song And to me, it's not fit for broadcast. The standard of the or the quality of the recording, you know, it's just not good. Sometimes you want to give somebody the opportunity, but then it doesn't sound good. And I believe in having a good sound. You know, I'm very particular and sensitive by that. I mean, I have a lot of challenges which I won't get into, a lot of things that frustrate me, and a lot I'm trying to do to really
Do you
ensure
communicate
that.
that back if you feel that, man, you need to do a little better with dating? Do you communicate that back to
Yeah,
the
definitely. I would say that the quality of it doesn't cut it, you know. And I hear certain things being broadcast on the local radio stations here, and to me that's a no. That wouldn't happen under my watch. I don't care who you are, what you are. That quality is not going out. You know, you have to go back and get it done. Do it properly. Do it better. Fix it because it's not good. It's not good enough. It doesn't cut it. If it's not good, you fix it, right? I don't know if I'm a perfectionist. I don't know if I can be, but at least we have to work within a certain standard, man. Where are our standards really? Too many things just fly by. We just anything goes. I don't believe in that. You know, we have, and then as Hadley mentioned too about the digital thing, guys have to look at guys like Colton T and some of the guys who do what they have to do to ensure that the music is available digitally, that people can support, you know, his music can support him. The calypsos, for example, come out every year, and the guys just disseminate, they just spread, they just
WhatsApp.
share
Get
on
that in a
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp.
till next
The
year.
only people who suppose, yes, you have to put them out for free, but then it's really the people who are in a position to promote your music who are the ones entitled to get them for free.
Right.
Yes, music right now with YouTube and social media and internet and all sort of means of downloading music, it's yes, and converting this to that. Yes, it's there and we can do it. But at least if you give your fans that opportunity, okay, to support your music,
Well,
a
I'll tell
fraction
you
of
what.
them would do so.
I'll
And
tell
if
you
you are
what.
truly fans, they will do that.
Especially
Mhm.
during carnival time, one of the things that I personally do is first check, streaming platforms. Because I would like to believe that I think that it's safe to say that most of us in the diaspora, we have access to streaming platforms. And gone are the days where fellas getting MP3 to full up a playlist. Nowadays, everybody have a Spotify or Apple Music or whatnot. That's the first place I check. And you're right. It's so easy to even get some of the local BOUYON and stuff. Even you even getting Trilogy on YouTube and some of these streaming
Yeah.
platforms. So it's a big question mark why Calypso, which is original music, why it's not there. Like you should easily be able to pull up Calypso on streaming platforms.
Because Calypsonians are okay with them and their work being seasonal. They are quite fine with it. So we can want it all we want, you know. We can want it all we want, but I think they are quite okay with being seasonal.
It should be on the streaming platform, like Miguel saying. Why is it on WhatsApp? We share.
Well, Rajiv, if you're okay with it being seasonal, putting it on the streaming platform going to make it longer than the season, and they don't really care about that. That's what I get from it. I remember reaching out to a couple Calypsonians, and my plan was to, okay, I would pay for the uploading of the songs. We would give everybody their percentage. I would take, let's say it was at 20%, and we would make a compilation of Calypsos for the year. And there were some people who were okay with it, but then when I reached back out, me and my partners reached back out, they were like, well, this isn't finished. And it's like, no, but yet still, you come up here for Labor Day and you expect me to come to dance to the Calypso that I've been wanting to listen to from Lent to now. You're fighting to promote something for Labor Day that could have been promoting itself throughout the year if it was out there. But even our right now, I think we can find more of our younger BOUYON artist music out there than
of course
some of our older ones. And to me, it's something that I've gotten flack for. I'm a hater. I don't. But it's something that I said, put the music out there. We will stream it, because that's what I think the phone companies has made it very difficult for people to, you know, back then you could put music on a memory card and put it in your phone. And for example, Apple, you can't do that. You know, so you forced to stream.
Right now we have Playgo and Deezer and all these
things.
There's
so many options.
Really no excuse.
You know, and
yeah,
I don't know, man.
Yeah, one of the things too, you know, even before I touch on the subject of length, to add to that is that the question of access itself to the music is an issue, because some of the guys, for example, again, it comes back to structure, management, no record labels, no management companies here and there. Probably 1-2 people have a manager, 1-2 people doing it the right way, having their graphics, etc. to when they're releasing or publishing their stuff. But you would find, say, certain guys put out certain music and just give it to 1-2 DJs, right? Other guys just give it to that person. There has to be that platform where we can all access just about any and everything. You know, there has to be that medium. You know, I've brought the idea out there. Perhaps somebody could be like for example, what's this guy who promotes the soca and all that thing, the Julian's Promotions, you know, like,
Julian
promotes soca and all that, right? Distributes all the music. I don't know. I think 1 or 2 guys have tried it before here, but I'm not sure what is happening. We need to have something like that, some middleman like that from the studios to the radio stations and the DJs who can get, whether you have to pay the man. So there's nothing like that as such. So that alone is a problem. So sometimes guys talking about a DJ not playing their music. The DJ doesn't even have the music in the first place. DJ doesn't even know about it. Did you send an email? You know, I'm not talking about sending a thing on WhatsApp. Did you provide an email? You know what it is? So we have to just get up and do this right, man, because we've been talking for so long.
But Migs, I'm going to play bad cop there for a second. In 2019, myself and a few friends, we call ourselves RBM Productions, we released a rhythm, champion rhythm, Colton T, Cardin XP, Dice, Skinny, Shelly, Daddy Chess, you know, and one of the things that we did when we sent out the music, before we sent it out, we put a post out there. If you are a DJ, if you are a legit DJ, send us your email and we will send you the music. And for some reason, I felt compelled to put in the email that while we are entrusting you with our material to promote it, to play it, and we humbly request that you do not distribute it. And I think that's another thing where some DJs has been kind of working against the artist after the artist has trusted them with their work. You know, and there was one person in particular who put his name on the list, and I knew he wasn't a DJ. And I didn't add him to the email list. But yet still, he reached out to me to make fun of me, saying that, well, you didn't send it for me, but I still get it from another DJ. I know he's not a DJ, and he just wanted it because he didn't want to pay for it. So I think that is one of the things that have artists picking and choosing which DJs that they maybe trust with their material, because some DJs would take that and, you know, send it for their partner that driving, that is a boss, for him to play the music on his boss and whatnot, while that bus driver could have streamed it or he could have purchased it. So I think you also have to look at that aspect of sometimes artists feeling like, boy, I don't really trust Mr. because last time I sent something for Mr. and Mr. sent that for all his partners and they might have that playing in their barber shop, playing whatever. So
yeah, well, hardly to interject, I think that is nonsense. For, you know, as creators of music, there are certain things you cannot prevent, because the bus driver and the guy in the barber shop can just go to YouTube and just take the song, or what he can still get it. So it's really a conscious decision that one has to make to support their favorite artist and band, realizing that that is how they can contribute to you having a daily bread by day, but then it must first be available. And even before that, it has to be promoted. So they ought to know where they can find the music and how it is that they can access or get a copy through digital download or whatever the case is. So that pick and choose thing, that has to stop, Hadley. You
No,
cannot tell me because one DJ, no, but like you said, that is one of the problems why artists decide they're picking and choosing. That's nonsense. So as producers of music, you need to throw that out the window once and for all. Throw it out tonight, out the window, right here, right now. And then while I want to commend you guys, I love the rhythm. I play it and I hear all the DJs playing it, as well, even in recent times. Let me just ask, seeing that we're on bad cop, good cop, have you all put out or released any other production since the Champion Rhythm? What have you followed up with since that release?
No, we haven't. And okay. I think for the year after, no. I will talk. I will explain since you asked me. For the year,
herein lies the problem.
No. Listen up. For the year after, it's very difficult. I'll be very honest with you. Like, even if it was a hard putting the compilation together. Like, we had a list of artists, about 20 guys that we reached out to. And it was very hard, fellas saying, yeah, I'm working on something, I'm writing something. And then, and then we tried to be as professional as possible, reaching out via email. I talked to you on WhatsApp, but bro, that is business. That's going to include money, time. I want to have everything documented email. Guys don't respond to emails. And then, for example, when one artist realized that other artist is part of the project, like I had to deal with that. I had to deal with one artist after writing a song, finding out that another artist was on the rhythm, literally dropped out because of that other artist. I will not disclose these two artists. And then, fellas saying they don't have time, and we have work that we have sent out to artists, and we at a point where we actually looking to get people to actually write the songs and we present the songs to the artists instead, right? Because we figure out that might be the best route, because I think guys don't like to work on in Dominica, guys don't like to work on other people's musical arrangement.
Well, I don't know.
Which doesn't make sense.
Crazy.
Which doesn't make sense
to me. It doesn't make sense to me as a consumer of music, as a promoter of music, as in a technical sense, even a producer. It really doesn't add up to me, because that is how it is. It's like in any business structure where different people have different roles or functions or responsibilities. Some people are more gifted at others. We have different gifts and talents. Do you understand? And we have to work. If you look at, why don't we model on what the successful people have done and continue to do? Look at the collaborations. Look at how they experiment with different moods and grooves of music and work with different producers. Why we have to be stuck in that where we're only working with this man or one man, or we don't want to write? What kind of madness is that? And then hardly, as you said too, with the challenges you have producing the rhythm since 2019. So here it is. So you see why I guess everybody else is just in the same boat. So they produce a rhythm in 2019 and in 2021 and cannot produce another rhythm yet. So what's it? What is it? And then guys are going to say that these guys not playing their music and all kinds of things like that. That's what I'm saying. We have to do more. You cannot just produce one rhythm, though. I understand you from what you tell me, you have challenges, but you can't expect to cut it like that. You just produce one rhythm and you finish with us in 2.5 years. If your rhythm, your rhythm studio, your production team, then put out some work.
No. Like I
put
said,
out the work.
Like I said,
at least present work. Produce the work.
Like I said, guys, with the mindset of the artist, it's something that we're working on, because it's not something that has really been done back home. Guys don't like to drop on rhythms with each other. It's a new thing, which to me I think is an old thing everywhere else. You have the drop leaf rhythm from Jamaica, the Guardian Angel rhythm. We have all the rhythms from Trinidad.
Dropping some 2000, you dropped 2005 rhythms
Yeah,
on me there.
yeah. You know,
2004,
you have the
2005.
let's go back. We have the Antilles rhythm from Trinidad and
Well, there are
Tobago.
millions of rhythms,
Yeah,
hardly. So
and
I mean,
it's something that we decided that we wanted to make a change, which is how we introduced the entire product. And we have material. We've been sending it out to artists this year, COVID and whatnot. But it's something that we have to work with the artists and get the artists to understand that, hey, we taking away all the expense from you. All you have to do is find a studio to record your song, and you get your percentage split of the material and whatnot. But it's something that the artists are not used to, and it's something that they are very skeptical about. I don't know why the younger guys see in their way we fit right now, but sometimes you really want to have the older heads and the bigger artists, and they are the ones, in my opinion, who are somewhat skeptical and not willing to do it, because like you said, they only want to work with that producer. That guy been producing for me for 10 years, and that's the only one.
Yeah,
but so that's why it is. So it's not an excuse, it's just pretty much an explanation as to why, but it's something that the team has been working on and whatnot. But we are
I just like 17 to see us work together, man.
Yeah. We are 17 minutes past the hour of, how do you say it again, Mix?
You're the host, you know. You're the host, man.
We are 17 minutes past the hour of 9 p.m. and we normally go on for 1 hour. So Mix, we want to tell you thank you for being on.
Before we let you go, just tell us where we can find you on a daily. I know you on. Give us the time, give us the station where we can find you.
Yeah, well, radio-wise, I do the Digicel hour, Monday to Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. It's a simulcast, so we're on all stations. We're on most of the stations, okay, Vibes, QFM, we're on Lab Radio. That show is a Digicel show. And from there, you can catch me from 4 o'clock on DBS. I'm the only man that you're gonna hear everywhere, but I work with DBS. I'm employed with DBS on a staff.
Currently, as we speak, where are you though?
I'm actually in the studio at
DBS.
At DBS, yeah, because I just finished my shift, just minutes before we came on there. So that's what it is. Hopefully, something I would like to see is that we are able to showcase our culture for I know you didn't ask me about it, for the upcoming independent season, be it virtually. I'm not really hearing much talk about that. I'm not sure if something is happening behind the scenes. I know a lot of the focus is on being vaccinated and encouraging people to get vaccinated, but we should at least be having some conversations about showcasing Dominica's culture for the independent season on a virtual platform where a budget, because I know originally the Prime Minister said some 400,000 would have been allocated to have only the local entertainers. That could still be put to use and get the players involved, and showcase, get the people everywhere around the world to chip in and to pay to log in and see a showcase of Dominica's arts and culture for the season. I just would like to hear those kinds of conversations, and I'm not hearing of it, so I just want to throw that out there briefly.
All right, we'll talk, man.
Yeah.
But Migs,
go ahead, Hadley.
We want to thank you for coming on, and we appreciate you opening up to us about who you are and what you do and why you do what you do and what are the things that drive you to do the things you do. And it's always good when, in my opinion, when we have young men, young men doing great things in Dominica. It's I think it's an issue, it's a problem we have where, You know, our women do pretty well, and even when sometimes our men do well, we tend not to plug them as much, promote them as much, because we figure, oh, you're a man, you're supposed to be doing those things anyways. You know, so we applaud you for what you do. We applaud you for entertaining the masses, whether it's through the radio or through shows and jams and concerts and whatnot. And I think Talk the Ting would like to do some work with you, but we'll talk about that behind the scenes. Cool. And Rajiv, anything else you want to say to your former teacher?
Thanks for coming on. You still have the second calypso, so you can keep it going. So
after all,
find a melody for it.
So all you need to team up, man, and now you can make a return, and you can be like Tronada Rajiv. You can make a return.
Yes,
for the fans, for the listeners, we just want to let you know that, you know, we have the new merch, we have the old merch. Like, share, subscribe. Let us know what other guests you want to hear. You know, let us know what else, what you like about the show, what you dislike about the show, if you love the show. Or we can continue to positively contribute in this space. Thanks again, Dr. Miggs, for coming on with us, and keep doing your thing. All the best. Yeah. I'll be listening at 2 o'clock, right after, as usual, I finish my Talk on the Block. So yeah, usually tune in, man.
Yeah, man. Big up, thanks, man. Thanks a lot for having me. Big up Renella, Mikaya, Mika, my girls. Big up Killer K one time, and to all the viewers. Thanks for having me. Enough respect, Adley and Rajiv.
So you're bigging up my partner Froggy then. I'm to you now, boy.
Original, man. That's a big up Froggy, number one. Froggy no way original. We official.
Soft. Bigging up the man.
Clear.
All right, guys. Take care and see you guys in the next 2 weeks. We have a great lineup of guests for you guys. And as Rajiv said, don't forget, check the merch, and don't forget Talk the Ting Sports. It's the sports version of Talk the Ting where the guys discuss mainly cricket and soccer. I kind of waiting for them to talk about American football, and maybe I'll join them. But for now, that's Rajiv them thing. But check it out every Sunday, and on occasion, sometimes on Monday. We had it on Monday. It's all based on when some of the games.
For, you know, stay tuned to our Instagram. That's where you get all the latest updates. Instagram and Facebook. So stay tuned to that.
And for those of all you who are currently viewing on Facebook, please go over to YouTube. We are trying to build our audience on YouTube as well. So please make sure you follow us, subscribe, hit that notification button so you will get a notification anytime we go live or we drop a brand new video. And with that, we say peace out, good night, 7-6.